We start the show, rather unusually, with a delve into the insect world with our guest and special sort of fountain of knowledge, James Quinn. What do you have to?
He's blushing.
Why are insects in? But why have insects been in the news this week?
Well, it's not insects specifically. It's more the recent horse meat scandal. I think that's really changed people's shopping habits, and people really consider the price you pay for meat and if it's really necessary. It's highlighted by the recent debate in the Badger. But however, I'm here to talk about insects.
Yeah,
and
can you stop your smutty faces, Molly?
Yeah, Molly, trying to distract me.
When we get the webcam in the studio, all will be revealed. I can tell you.
I'll carry on. Okay. So I'm here to talk about insects. Very interesting topic.
Is it?
Well, I personally, but then based on my degree, you would have thought I would be quite interested in anything nature related. But
Okay.
so yeah.
Why
For me, it's
insects?
interesting.
Why are insects so important to the natural world this week?
This week in particular? Well, this week there was a great documentary by on BBC4 by Stephen Gates called "Can Eating Insects Save the
Apparently, you
World?"
look like me. The host.
No.
Not in the end.
No,
Dashing, is he dashing?
Well, there was one picture. If you guys go on iPlayer, and you
Yeah,
type
like
in,
on the-
"Can
on the,
Insects Save the World?" The picture does look
A little bit like me,
there's a-
but not in the show.
no
In the preview picture.
in the
it's like
preview
it.
picture there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it. Since we're a nation that loves meat, you would have thought we would try alternatives such as insects, but we don't. We're stuck in our ways about what we eat. It's every night. I'm the same. I pretty much
Are
have
you?
the same meat every day, like ham, chicken.
Yeah, we had
Stuff like that, mint.
ham toasty today,
We
didn't
had,
we,
we
James?
had ham and egg
together?
toasty. So
Very romantic, wasn't it, as
was,
well?
It was very nice, but it just shows that we don't have much variety in our diet, and I think, other countries can do it, such as Thailand and Mexico. They all eat bugs and insects regularly in their diet, and Bangkok is the capital of the bug-eating world. The scientific name for eating bugs is entomophagy. Great name. Ento tends to be the precursor to anything relating to insects. So, Paul, what do you think an entomologist studies?
Trains?
So close, but yet so far. No, it's someone who studies insects. I found that.
You've probably known that from the last 5 minutes of... Well, it hasn't
So
been
it's
5 minutes.
zoned out during the last
Yeah.
5 minutes.
And I found some great quotes. I don't know if they're real or not, but we'll roll with them. So the first one is from John from Florida. "I think eating bugs is disgusting. I disagree that children have no problem eating them. It would be much easier to eat soy as a protein than bugs. If raising cattle, pigs, and other animals is a problem, then we should all go the vegan route." And then we've got Paul Latanya from Canada. "Insects are good food. I've eaten insects before, both as a teenager and as an adult. They're delicious when eating raw or fried. Besides, they make tasty soup. Fried ants are ground, boiled, and salt is added to taste. Grasshoppers taste good too.
It's like your
Hey,
quintessential
it
recipe,
is.
isn't it?
Hey, they cost nothing. Sure, I would recommend them to friends. They taste like mushroom soup with beef flavour." And then we've got Professor Van Huis at the Wageningen University.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. And that is the only university in the world dedicated to what we eat. I found this out.
Wow,
and it's
that
very
is-
interesting. And it's in the
What
Netherlands.
whole institution?
Based on
Based
what
on
we
that
could eat, what we
very
eat. and-
trivial...
Yeah, it's
matter.
interesting, isn't it? And
I
how
suppose it is important, though, isn't it,
Yeah,
James?
well, that's how we survive. And he said that insects had more protein more protein than cattle per bite. They cost less to raise. They consume
Right.
less water and did not have much of a carbon footprint. This show I mentioned before tracks Stephen Gates' voyage into entomophagy. It's a great watch, but not for the faint-hearted. And insect fear is out there because there's a lot of film of a lot of insects, and gets a bit tarantulas.
Yeah.
So let's go into some of the
Fiddling with a lot of paperwork. here,
Indeed.
James. You've prepared. You've perhaps
Well,
over-prepared.
I think I might have over-prepared for all we know.
But carry on.
Let's go into the advantages and disadvantages of eating insects. So I'll first go for the advantages. There are 40 tons of insects
Sweating.
to every human. 40 tons.
Oh,
That's a lot.
could be more.
Could be more.
Could be less.
Could be less as well. This makes them an untapped human resource. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization are pro-entomophagy. They're easy to farm. They're extremely nutritious, having a wide variety of flavours. and there are about 1,900 edible species, ranging from mealworms to tarantulas. Since there is a rising population, meat consumption will double by 2020. We can see this happening in China at the moment. And it means we need to find some more sustainable sources of protein. Meat production requires extremely high amounts of grain, water, farmland, and you can see it's like destroying the rainforests.
A vastly overpopulated world
Yeah.
perhaps needs insects to survive.
Yeah, and 2 billion people are already eating insects. So it just kind of shows that's a bit of maths here. But
Yeah, please, bring mathematics into it. We're not
About-
intellectual
it's about-
pygmies
it's about
on Paul's
28%.
politics.
28%. About 26%. So I just had to.
Who's that in the
clarify.
background?
Dan, our resident maths expert.
Just lying. He doesn't know it's 26%.
No, it's 2 billion out of
No
7
one's
billion.
gonna question. If you talk assertively enough,
Yeah.
you can get it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's what I do every week.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't bring any facts to the table.
It's 26.8 to be exact. But yeah, so insects are also cold-blooded, so therefore they don't waste energy as heat, which we all do. It's all warm-blooded mammals. They produce a lot of protein compared to their food intake. It helps farmers out because insects eat the farmers' crops. It helps local communities, for example, the ones in Cambodia. In Cambodia, there are rice paddies which are infested with grasshoppers, and hunting them saves money with pesticides,
So-
provides jobs to the locals, and it gives a bit of extra revenue to everybody. And if you wanted to farm them, for example, one cricket can lay 100 eggs in a month, so you can just kind of see the turnover when like a cow would only lay like maximum of 2 calves about every
So
year.
you're saying basically,
Yeah.
you're saying that insects could be the solution to the growing inequality,
Indeed.
economic, social equality in this world.
Yep.
Insects.
Insects,
Insects.
indeed. I know.
Eating insects.
I-
It's
I-
unbelievable.
I've eaten snails from my garden before.
How was that?
It was
Daniel, you disagree back
Actually-
there. Why? No, so you don't have a counter argument.
then-
Well, in that case, we let James Quinn
no,
continue.
I will go on to the counter argument. I have my own counter arguments for my own argument.
Okay.
See, shows I'm a well-rounded person.
Shows you're a well-rounded but pompous
yeah.
human being.
So, thanks for that, Paul.
Cheers.
So, and also we have a sports suggestion: the new fox hunting.
New fox
I'm
hunting.
going to open that question up. What do you think about that,
Well,
Paul?
what you mean?
So let's
men,
go- let's
men
go.
and women running around trying to catch bees.
Well, not bees, but more like crickets, grasshoppers.
What?
Okay.
How's that going to happen? It's like people who try to catch butterflies. Oh, by the way, I've got a little fact for you about butterflies later in the show.
Really?
About
Very
feminism.
interesting. But yeah.
Feminism and butterflies.
Yes, because
No, don't give away the
Why?
fact
Come on.
secretly. No, we'll save it
We'll
for
come.
later.
Well, yeah, we'll come to that later. If
Okay.
you're listening to Paul's Politics, please stay tuned because there's a fascinating fact
How
about
on
butterflies which
earth
links to
is that?
feminism and will blow Molly's argument apart.
Yeah, it
But
would
yeah.
literally shatter my
I didn't mean
argument.
blow in a sexual sense there, Molly.
Good, good.
Not everything
I
is
was
an
about to
innuendo on this
question that.
show.
I was going to question
Of course you were. Of course you were going
We've
to.
got some disadvantages to the argument. Some people might think
Of insects.
of
Let's
insects.
get back to
yeah,
the
let's
debate.
back to insects. First of all, some people might think they're dirty, which is a bit of a stupid one, but oh well. You have to eat a lot of them to get the same amount of protein sustenance as you would get from meat. They could potentially hurt farmers who can't adapt or change, but that's just capitalism. And it could also hurt the food chain, as insects provide food for birds and other animals.
So,
But it's just as long as we are sustainable about the way we farm them, and if we farm them, it's not going to hurt the food chain at all.
no.
It's just
Unless-
you've got to be careful about how you influence the
Don't go
ecosystem.
too much. Yeah,
Yeah.
not too.
Yeah, we don't want to kill
Not too
every
quickly. We need to make it a gradual process.
Yeah, with like the
From horse meat
with
to
the American
insects.
bison in America and the European bison, which were only reduced down to 7 in 1911. There you go. So we do.
So you
sometimes-
definitely need it. You definitely
Yeah,
need
and
it.
as
Yeah,
you
so-
say, it's not a picnic without ants. We don't want to wipe out all of the ants.
Of course we don't.
Indeed. And apparently,
Let's get to your animal rights
apparently-
section later on in the show.
apparently red
Goodness
ants.
sake, feminist, animal rights activists. What
I'll
more?
take on all the
Professional
arguments, Paul.
feminists.
Just give me a
Goodness
subject and I
sake.
will defend it.
Apparently, red ant larva is the caviar of the insect world. So if any of you go to Bangkok or whatever, and they're like, "Would you like some red ant soup or red ant larvae soup?"
Don't turn your nose up.
Don't
at
turn
it.
your nose at it
Go
because
for it.
There's a man walking a dog over there.
yeah, he was in Eastlope. No, he's not in East. He's not the guy from Eastlope.
He's waved to us. We'll
Shout out to the
Shout-
man.
shout out to the
a
man outside.
walking the dog outside the studio. You can only imagine our faces. Thank you very much, James Quinn, for such a mad twist to
Yeah.
Paul's politics.
Well,
Insects.
It's
on Paul's
important. It's
politics.
important. It keeps us alive.
We have an hour of airtime, and we fill it with 10 minutes about insects. A little counter-argument about insects. The ex-Smiths frontman Morrissey has been touring recently. He's very ill. He's got pneumonia. He's come down with pneumonia. He's a vegetarian. He's been eating insects. It can't be good. He's on death's door. There's been rumours that he's going to be quit. He's going to be retiring after this tour due to his illness. Very strong hint.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Morrissey for a bit.
Well,
You've got a story about Morrissey.
I do actually have a story about Morrissey, because you know David Cameron is a bit of a fan of the Smiths.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
We played this Charlie Man.
Yeah, and they're not too happy about that. So the Smiths put a post on their Twitter page or tweet saying that it was quite derogatory towards David Cameron, and saying that, oh, why does he like our music? He doesn't deserve to like our music. So my friend thought he would tweet them back saying it's unfair that you're calling him out not to be a proper human being. And he has been on the back that every day he gets messages saying abuse shouted at him from the Smith supporters.
Because you do get a lot of
lot
of militant Smiths.
And he showed me some of the tweets and they're hilarious.
Basically.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. The Smiths are awesome, but Morrissey is awful.
And my dad went to
Nasty
school with the
man.
Smiths.
He's a nasty
He's a bitch,
man.
isn't
He's
he?
a bit of a.
Paul,
He should
my-
just get over himself, to be honest. The Smiths are good.
Dom
but-
disagrees.
My dad went to school with the Smiths.
All
The
of them?
Smiths, all of them.
They weren't
Or
all at the same
Morrissey.
school, were they?
Manchester Grammar.
No.
Were they all?
Were they
what,
all
that's
the
where they
same
met?
age? I'm sure they weren't all at the same
Um,
school. Maybe just Johnny Marr and Morrissey could not have been at the same
Maybe
school.
we'll get
then.
tweets.
But
rejecting
yeah,
that, so-
I'm sure we'll get some good clarification on that. But
We move on from that very interesting talk, not really suited to Paul's politics. We welcome our guest, Dominic Sokowski, Liberal Democrat Society President, as we've told you about 20 times. Since the conception of the coalition government, in the future of the Liberal Democrats has been one of the biggest talking points in British politics. The conventional wisdom was that they would be annihilated in 2015 as a result of broken promises and the tough decisions of government. And yet, Nick Clegg's party secured a stunning victory in Eastleigh on the back of 8% national poll ratings, abysmal national council elections and several heavily reported scandals. Despite these difficult circumstances, certain political commentators have claimed that the Liberal Democrats should not celebrate Eastleigh, pointing towards the 14% swing against them. But this is precisely the reason for celebration, surely. Like in football, the best teams win even when they are playing badly. And the Liberal Democrats have such a good base on the ground in these local constituencies. Do you think that the Liberal Democrats can build on the last 2010 election and gain more seats in the House of Commons? Dominic Sokowski.
Gaining net seats may be difficult, but you could definitely gain seats off the Conservatives. Because I think we have about 60 seats and 50 of them are Tory Lib Dem marginals, which means that, like Eastleigh, like most of our seats, basically we could lose 14% of the vote, because the Tories also lost 14% of the vote, and we still hold on to those seats. So we're actually, because of the vote system, we actually should hold on to most of our seats, and at the same time, we could gain seats off the Conservatives, because in those areas you could, say Labour can't win, vote Lib Dem, and you could possibly gain them. Tim Farron said that we could. I think he's being a bit optimistic, but he said we could gain up to 30 seats from the Conservatives.
But then UKIP will gain a lot
I don't think
more.
UKIP will get a single MP in Parliament.
That's quite a bold prediction.
You've
got the European elections to come.
Obviously that's different because they always do well in those elections because they're a single issue party over that. But in general election, they won't get a single seat. It's first past the post, and where does the vote concentrate? It doesn't concentrate anywhere.
Just to digress a second, I mean UKIP aren't completely a one issue party. They've this week come out with the idea of giving out vouchers for welfare dependents, so that they're not allowed to buy tobacco or alcohol.
Well,
you've been suggesting this for years.
I've been shouting
Eduardo
this
Mead.
from the rooftops. Edward Mead, let's correct that straight away.
Sorry, I was reading the Badger last week, and you were referred to as Eduardo
The
Mead.
Badger. The Badger. Yes,
That's our student newspaper,
it's a shame actually that it had to be UKIP that has